Here we go. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, we're recording now. And we'll post it in IamAnArtist.net and probably on the Kipaipai alumni Facebook page and stuff. So anybody who misses it or misses portions of it, it'll be up there. But I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for coming. Thanks for James for letting us do this show or inviting us to do this show. Betty Brown asked us to tell you guys the story of how the show came about. And just briefly, I'll say that like everything in the world and everything in the art world, we're all connected in various ways. And when I was doing Kipaipai in Joshua Tree, I met James, I met Mela. I fell in love with Mela's work. I'm like, dude, our work is so perfect together. We gotta do something together. And we stayed in touch over the last year and a half or two. And she came up with this idea. I think it was your idea of pitching it to James for Launch Gallery. And we pitched it to him right around when COVID started. So he didn't even know what was gonna happen with the gallery. But we just kept in touch with him and we put together a proposal for him with images and kind of a concept for the show. It wasn't hard to do because I feel like our work is very, very simpatico. It works together really well. It's different, but it has a lot of similarities. So it was an easy pitch to him, but that's kind of how it started. I'm gonna let Mela take up the story after this. But also there'll be time for questions afterwards. The format that we decided on doing tonight is we're gonna do about 20 minutes each, maybe a little less for me, of talking about our individual work or, of each of our work, I should say. And then Mela will get 20 minutes, I'll probably have less. Because I don't know how much I can say about my work that hasn't already been said in all the various social media posts I've done, but we'll leave room for questions at the end. So save your questions for the end, guys, if you have anything. And also mute yourself while we're doing the presentations. And if you really have a burning question, you could put it in the chat or raise your hand or something like that. But right now I'm gonna pass my phone off to Stephen, who works here at the gallery, and he's gonna be our cameraman. Whoop, wait, hold on a second. Let me turn this around so you can see him. Uh-oh, how do I do that? Oh, talk about a senior moment. There he is. That's our man. He's gonna be taking care of us. And there's Mela. And he's gonna, I'm gonna hand this phone off to him because we're running it off on my phone and we'll get started with Mela's presentation. Thanks. Alrighty.
Let me know when I can speak.
Go for it.
Okay. Can they see me? Right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Mela and I'm an artist. And following Betty Brown's question about how this all started, I guess Ray already told really well that we met in Kipaipai and then we connected with the work. We never see each other's work in person, just digital images. And then we connected just like he described. And I remember I was thinking about his work and his historic images in relation to my more cosmic kind of work. And so I came up with a few titles and ideas and sent him a few titles and descriptions for his review. And then we did a proposal with, to James, and he had thumbs up. So we got this great opportunity now to show and share our work with you, with all of you. And I really appreciate all of your support. Betty, thank you so much. James, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And especially at this time when, during we really appreciate this opportunity. Kudos to you for this great exhibit. Andy, thank you so much. Shana, thank you for, and just all of you. We're gonna thank more once I'm gonna.
Thank you at the end.
Yeah, thank you all at the end. So I just would like to begin talking about my work, but before, just a little bit briefly, my work is, I work with acrylic and wood, and I cut the details, very precise shapes. I build acrylic and wood also, and it takes a lot of time. This is very delicate pieces, and the best what you can do to see this work in person, because from the pictures typically I lose a little bit, it's better to see it in person. If you can't come in person here, that would be fantastic. I'm going right now to my smaller pieces, smaller sculptural pieces over here, to talk about them. Some of this work, 9 inches tall, 12 inches tall, 11 inches tall. And again, I try to find balance in my work. Just like in my life, you know, I'm a certified yoga instructor, and sometimes I meditate on a sattva board, which is a male board. Just try to find peace, harmony, and balance and calm. And so this book, as you can see, I try to find asymmetrical balance and harmony with all the shapes and colors you can see in this book. Can you see this piece is right now, right? This one, okay. Let's move maybe to the castle back. Wonderful. Thank you, Stephen. You can see from, show it from the side, while I'm going to stand here, so you can see the castle and myself. So, we're going back to this piece, which is the most current piece I made, and it took me a lot of time, crazy amount of time to construct this and paint this. This book is called The Castle Where the Moon Sleeps. And I wrote the poetry about it. When you feel cold at night, doesn't a friendly wind cover you like a soft cloud blanket? When you are in a perfect mood, doesn't the sky celebrate with you, circling around you with a pearl light? Doesn't your ancient feminine know the deep places everywhere beyond the bottom of the ocean? When your ethereal light softly carries me to that place where everything drifts away, I feel closer to you. I take you with me through streams of dreams to the castle where the moon sleeps. Again, trying to find balance with the asymmetrical shapes. The circle here inside of this piece is acrylic built moon. It took me a long time to make this whole kind of effect. And yeah, so it's not wood, it's acrylic built piece. Go faster. Stephen, let's go to this piece. You can show this one from the distance over here. This is, you can see 8 pieces here, what I put together. Again, I try to find balance in my work, whether it's an individual work or I put it in a group of 8 pieces. Also, were you showing?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to give them full screen. Why is it
Mela,
showing?
can you talk into your phone?
I can't. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, it's just hard in the gallery, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. If anyone offers me to talk about my work the other time on Zoom, that I can show more detailed images that you can see, because I know it's you know, the evening electrical light, and my work is very particular, very detailed, so I'll be more than happy to do that. But I'm gonna try, can you see this work over here? Right now? Okay, I'm trying to create the impression of another worldly or other solar system technology that doesn't look like anything you might see or experience in our planet. This simply could be different sections of, you know, megatropolis of flowing in space. Each one have different function, or like different planets and different totally unexpected solar system to change our imagination and create different conception and different perspectives. This work, it's all acrylic and wood. And the detail, again, as you can see, it's built again with acrylic paint. Maybe half of an inch, some of the shape, some of the acrylic built up like almost half of an inch. It takes a long time. Painters know that it takes a while to do that. Let's go to this work over here. If you can show the detail. Let's start with this piece. This piece called the Purple Earth Hypothesis. And this is a biological, like astrobiological theories that, you know, we know and read for decades that indicates that, you know, photosynthetic life forms actually retinal based and not chlorophyll based. And it's basically making Earth appear purple instead of green. And so that means that feminine put out spectacular waves of the color purple across the Earth, turning light into energy. This kind of energy was necessary to bring all complex forms of life, you know, to a higher life form into higher existence. So the color purple there is used to represent the purple retinal-based microorganisms and renew a source of light energy to power orbiting base station and shine purple once again. The color purple is the work based in this work. It's used to represent imagination, exploration, and higher consciousness. This work over here is a very personal piece to me. It's called The Lightning Transformer. When I was 7 years old, my father, who was electrical engineer, he got electrocuted. And all of a sudden, my life from, you know, beautiful and perfect childhood turned into completely different life. And this is how the light strikes unexpectedly. And this is the layers of life and time, and shifted into prism, and, you know, create a different life. What I was hoping at the time, I didn't want to think black and white. I just want to be thinking and hoping and have some more color in my life. Let's move to the other work over there. Over here, if you just show this piece, please. This a little sculpture, also wood and acrylic base, and it's called Betwixt and Between in Everything Seen. Basically, you know, you have point A and point B, and all the space in between different destination, different time frame, you know, represent all kinds of unpredicted and, you know, different situations in life. What is in between can be completely unexpected and completely different. I want to indicate in my book the mystery of secrets that we all feel but can't say, because the mystic artists are the keeper of these secrets and keep them alive and protect from any mainstream zeitgeist that threaten to destroy or hurt them, because they are what is truly natural and alive. Imagination is the source of everything up here, because the feminine imaginal flows all the way down to those infinite energy fields that plays our DNA like it's a symphony orchestra. We are the music it produces. My art is a record of it. Can you please go to this walk over there? So we are moving from cathedral satellite beacon on a topography of the blue moon to this blue moon piece, and to the betwixt and between and everything you see, and there are architectural solar variations. And here we have this piece over here. I was showing this piece. Okay. I was showing this piece in Carnegie Museum of Art a while back, and it's called Escape from Retrograde Through a Shape-Shifting Space Elevator with Abstract Quantum Enhancement. This is acrylic and wood, and the base is a concrete-based piece on the bottom. Basically, from the Earth to orbiting megatropolis, losing gravity, geometric waves, vibrant field, and octave frequencies. Can we now go over here? This is another piece, wood and acrylic again. And again, I try to find balance in my work. And I'm thinking about, you know, Frank Stella, who was saying that sculpture is just a painting, with, you know, cut out and stood up somewhere. I really like that idea, because my work is sticking out from the wall from 8 to 12 inches, which is almost like a sculptural piece, but at the same time, it's a painting, created also all the shadows on the wall, really amazing. And this is like a sunrise image I really love. We can move over here. This piece is also related to architectural solar variations. I showed it in the painting fine arts, and build up all this kind of a orbiting megatropolis losing gravity. You know, a while back I went to SpaceX and I was standing under the piece of rocket that went to Mars. And, you know, it was feeling like, you know, I want to go to unknown. I want to create something like some kind of sort of a cities in orbits. And they all completely different from each other, and they all integrate family and communication with each other. If you show these details, also you can see how this acrylic layers of acrylic build up on this piece. And if we can please move on to this. I was having a lot of fun to create these shapes, just the shapes of the wall. And you know, I like the way Frank Stella said that, you know, the walk not necessarily, you know, need to have an ups or down. You know, this is really beautiful idea. And personally, also Cousin Marlene's ideas was related to it too. So the walk can be moved different angles. I can play with it, change it, and trying to find balance on rhythm, trying to find balance in my work and in my life. And myself, you know, I'm an artist, I'm also a curator. I've done some curatorial projects internationally in Marshall Museum, and I show like 23 museums in different places. I remember Betty Brown, I was inspired from you by wearing this hat tonight. And this particular hat, I wear it actually in Beldner when I was curating exhibit in Marshall Museum. And it was racism related, and educate the public over there about, you know, our Black community in America. So, you know, so that was really fantastic. I showed a lot of African American work over there, and I had my solo exhibit called The View. 5 more minutes? Okay.
You don't have to go 5 minutes, but there's 5 minutes.
Well, I just want to make sure so you have enough time. Okay. If anybody maybe ask me a question, if I, you know, have 5
Why don't we
minutes.
save the questions for the end?
Okay.
Is that good? Then we can do them all at once.
Okay, that would be completely fine with me. Why you just go then, so
Okay.
I don't want to overtime you.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mela.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm going to start over here if that's okay. I don't know why I like this here. You can be right here, right by the bar. I like this bar thing. Like, I decided to take this whole back portion of the gallery and put a lot of my work here. For people that already know my work, you might know that I work a lot with art history. I'm interested in artists and art history. And previous bodies of work, I have paid homage to other artists by remaking their work, in some instances out of money, or by incorporating their work that I found in porn images into photos. It's another body of work called Pot that I did. This kind of continues in that tradition of my interest in appropriating and paying homage to other artists' work. So all of the work in this show, and for the last few years, in fact, for these shaped collages, have been made of images of other artists, and in this case, the shapes as well. Almost all of these shapes that you see that comprise these sculptures and wall pieces are from Henry Moore forms. So I scanned those images, I had them laser cut out of wood, and then I used more contemporary works from living artists for the collage elements of it. And yeah, just feel free to scan through. A lot of the work just preceding this was using a lot of historic and Renaissance painting and stuff like that. I've decided to try to use more colorful contemporary work. I was worried that if I didn't make my work bright enough, it would be drowned out by Mela's work. Not that I made it in relationship or of her work, but I wanted to have as a vibrant kind of color palette as she did for the show. So I've found more contemporary sources of the work. What I like about this body or collage in a way is that it's endlessly interesting to me. I can make many different things out of it. From wall pieces that are multi-paneled to freestanding sculpture. So it's been fun to play around with it. I do works on paper, but these are the more 3D manifestations of this idea. What's fun about these two is that they are different on both sides. So if you could move around it, you would see they have definite fronts and backs. I can turn this one. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about my work. I'm going to open it up to questions at this point. So if you guys,
This is Betty. I have a question right away.
Somebody's asking something. Can you say that again?
I said, Ray, this is Betty. I have a question right away.
sure, Betty, let me turn up my sound. Yeah, go ahead.
So you said that you have these laser cut, right?
Yeah.
And then how are the images applied?
Just old fashioned, glue.
So
For
they're
the-
collage. They're not painted by you.
No, so all of this imagery, you could probably tell this is like a Vasarely. They're all taken from art history. So I scan images that I find in either catalogs, art history books. I print them on a large scale printer and then cut them out and glue them. So I was getting frustrated with the scale of my collages when I was just taking images out of art history books. I could only work on a certain scale based on the size of the images in those books. So I got a scanner and a big Epson 9800 printer, so I can now print these, up to 4 feet. And it's changed both the way that I can play with the images and change the scale of the images, but also the scale of the actual objects. But it's pretty traditional glue on wood.
And then do you cover the surface of the paper to seal it at all?
Yeah, then it has a matte UV varnish on it. So it's hard, you can't tell because it's very flat, but
Yeah.
it's very protected.
I really like them, Ray. What can I say? Thank you for answering the questions.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I wanted to also give a shout out to Shayna. She did a little calendar listing for us this weekend in the LA Weekly.
Thank you, Shana.
I don't know if she's on our call, but
We love Shayna.
do you guys have any other questions for me or Mela?
I think there was a few in the chat.
Is there something in the chat? Let's see. They're all being so quiet and very disciplined. Oh yeah, there's a lot of them in the chat. Hold on a second.
Suppose they could hear us and they will.
Okay.
One thing that strikes me is that these are both, relief. Well, I guess we have a combination of relief and sculpture. And would everybody agree that that's a little bit of an unusual pairing? I mean, would you expect are most shows a combination of 2D and 3D, and you wouldn't necessarily see two relief pieces in the same show. I'm not being, like,
I don't think I understand.
well, maybe I should come back when I've thought about my question a little bit more. Right. Right now, I think after I opened my mouth, it was a don't say anymore. They're going to think you're an idiot.
Well,
No.
No,
Come on.
the question was more. I don't often see two relief artists in the same show.
yeah. Well, you'd have to, that's a question probably for James, how he likes to put them together. I wanted us to do a show because I thought our work had a lot of similarities, but at the same time was very distinctly different. One of the things about Mela's work that I really appreciate is that it is so infinitely detailed. I mean, these little sculptures, I'm sure you guys saw it earlier, every facet of her sculptures are painted. Mine are very direct and very simple by comparison. It's a shape or maybe a few shapes and collaged a few times, and then maybe I'll play with the depth on the wall. But hers, you could walk around it from every single angle and it looks completely different. So I love both the way that we work with space differently, but also kind of similarly. Wouldn't you say, Mela?
Yes, I have to agree with this. Yes, what you said about the details, Irene. Yes,
Yeah.
it's from every single angle. I like the mystery of, I don't like to say everything, so you look at the front and see one image and then you go around and it's like a completely different image. And I like that you are, see what they want, what they're interested in finding new images. And yes, we have a completely different artwork because it uses collage glued on plywood, right?
Yeah.
And it's very precise, very unique way, and you cut it with a laser, which is also great that we have technology now to do that. And I was actually thinking about laser to get one for myself. But my work is completely different. It's a hand cut, every single piece I hand cut.
You better be close to the phone while you're talking.
And so, yes, we have a different way to walk and think and feel, but we have shaping pieces, which kind of connected, and we did this bright colors this time, so it's more connected to what I do. With this pandemic, I felt like a lot of artists feel like doing more bright color. Yeah. It's just.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I really felt like this body of work had to be colorful, not just because we were exhibiting, but because I need to have some hope at the end of this year,
Yes.
And the color scheme. So.
Yes. I like to think about Mark Chagall when he was saying that, the only color on his palette is the color of love.
Oh,
and,
that's sweet.
And then when I'm thinking about my work and working on it, I felt like I'm in a different dimension and connect with some kind of higher sources. It felt like it's almost like me feeling like, the higher vibration and higher frequency and love. Somebody was making a joke that I would have been making a good hippie. Because, I meditate, I do, I hike, I do karate, yoga, I yoga instructions, and I stand on a nail board very frequently, actually, lately, especially during the pandemic. I created these pieces during the pandemic where I was having a lot of nails and create like a nail boards, and I was putting sculptures on those pieces.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, it's like basically, yes, and I wrote a poetry about it. I'm not going to read it right now, but I wrote a poetry about it, how standing on those saffron boards and on nails create more balance and peace and harmony. First you feel pain, and then you feel balance, and you kind of go in that universe. Like orbiting Megatropolus with the gravity ideas,
You use the term balance a lot when you gave the presentation. I was thinking about it with my work because I actually am trying to do the exact opposite. I'm trying to actually throw you off balance visually.
Mhm.
So even the work that preceded this, the stuff that was more using Renaissance paints, I really wanted the surface to be so active that you really couldn't rest anywhere. So I'm sort of going for the opposite. I thought that was interesting you said that.
Yeah, that's a good point you made, that you were going completely opposite. Yeah, I am, making this dynamic shape and form,
Yeah.
very asymmetrical shapes, balancing out, not just with the shapes, with the color also. Like I have a piece, it's called Authority of Color with the Speed of Light.
Yeah.
And it feels like the piece is just moving itself. And I even had some people told me, oh my God, it's like a, painting machine or something, with this
Yeah.
moving like, and yeah, but to me, balance, yes, it's in my whole life, I try to find balance in everything I do, in everything I work on. And yeah, it's the first time I heard you mention it, that it's an interesting concept.
You also talked about Frank Stella, who I think about a lot, because he's always trying to embody things that aren't possible to be embodied, like
Right.
smoke rings, for example. And he's also trying to create space with two-dimensional objects.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where our work does have a lot in common. Is this kind of, it's related to what I think Stella's trying to do with this work.
Oh, he was my biggest inspiration. This is how I started. And Stella's book, the way the shapes goes, the way the color follows the shapes in many of his books. And I was trying to go actually completely opposite. So not follow the shapes in a lot of my books, and do completely opposite what Stella did. And also some of my books, I've done like really big pieces of connected by Long Beach Museum of Art. And I try to, like when I have 2 master's degrees, too much of an education. And I felt that I need to move on, and I wanted to move on and just completely forget about it. And I've done some pieces where I completely just not having in my mind the elements of design, and just completely just lose myself in the work, just not thinking what would be, I've done some pieces, and I'm proud of it, but there still particular elements of design, even if you move on, it's still there. Like,
There's no way you can forget about it. It
Exactly.
just happens. It's in you.
It's a part of the whole. It's a part of my life, just like you breathe, you eat. It's part of your life.
I mean, I've tried to make for this body of work something that's a lot more formal and less conceptually driven in past bodies of work, but no matter how much I try, you can't really separate the concept from object or formal elements from the piece.
Oh, this is so true, so true. I remember I was talking with Carol Benjamin. It was a long time ago, somewhere in West Island, it was a little chair, and in this exhibition was a color, and I was there, like, just had a little short conversation about, color, and how he, and he was, so colorful.
Yeah.
Just so colorful. The works were just incredible, the detailed color, just the vibrating color canvases, pieces.
How are we doing on time, by the way?
Oh,
Let's interrupt.
what time is it? Oh, it's 7:40.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, go ahead. Finish your story though.
yeah, it just, when I took was a master's, it also like a community law.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
I went to visit it, also I saw it in the Museum of Art, right? And I had a very brief conversation about minimalist work he did. It just, when you talk with these people who accomplished so much, and they just like us, they follow this, it's all, I feel like intuition, with the shapes, like in myself as a female artist also, I work very intuitively. For example, people ask me, how do you do drawings first, do you do paintings first? Yes, I do some sketches, I sketch something, and then, I decided to try some shapes, and when I got my shapes, I'm using especially hand detail cuts, the original idea changed into something else.
Right.
And I see it in many masters, like I just mentioned, that, you know, they probably start with this idea and then they move into, and it's changed, how it shifted
Yeah.
all times.
Yeah.
In one piece, you know, and how my work shifted all my life. So this.
Well, it's interesting because your work seems very precise in terms of how it's painted and assembled, but when we were installing it, the interesting thing was you were very open about how it could go. It could go in many different directions, like these two wall pieces. You're like, I could have 5, I could have 7, I can put one here, I can put one here. So even the installation of it was a very intuitive process.
I remember you helped me out to paint it.
Yes.
And you.
We had it 3 different ways.
Yeah, and you put your nails there,
Yeah.
and you were measuring.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't need to measure, I can just, and it was in the same levels as the
Right.
nail, remember the same
Yeah.
nail with the opposite?
Yeah.
Yes, and it was, and the piece was just white on that nails,
Mhm.
perfectly fine. Like you mentioned, I could have hit these pieces completely differently, like the two pieces hitting higher to each other, they can be completely separately, especially the lighting transformer piece. It's also the shape of gold.
Yeah.
It's a very precise shape. I actually cut the fronts of this series of pieces orbiting Megatropolis using gravity.
Yeah.
It took me actually a few years to develop. I started cutting it from CGU, Clarion Gravity University Woodshop, until I was able to finish it up. And I had actually from the sides, these pieces, I had some help to with the sides.
Yeah.
And now I can manage it myself, but at that time, it took me a while to learn. I'm still learning, you know, from people who are better woodmakers.
Yeah. Well, I like that quality about the work, though. There's precision and then there's intuition that function at the same time.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a shape of a bowl. If it's turned this way,
Yeah.
it can be a shape of a bowl. It's also kind of have a philosophical.
Looks like a
meaning.
mountain.
Could be a mountain. Could be
Yeah.
like an ocean and the waves. It's wherever, I mean, your imagination brings you.
Yeah. Well, good.
And yeah, this is detailed layers pieces, so many layers of acrylic. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed painting, just a process. You know, what is for you, like for you, is what is the process is more important for you or the results?
Well, that's the interesting thing. This is the first time I've worked in a way where the process is more important than the result. I used to like to say that with conceptual work, the work that I did before, the idea was the engine that made the work, right? So it's a very Solowittian kind of idea. Once you have the idea, you just enact it. So this is the first body of work for me, or one of the first bodies of work I've done, where I don't have a set idea, so the end result is always in question.
Right.
And it could change from day to day. You know.
Exactly.
Like before I set these, the wall pieces together and glue and screw them, they're in multiple different ways. It's like the way you compose this piece. I will compose them probably 5, 6, 8 times until I go, oh, that's it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that it could be hanging anywhere.
Yeah, and it can be hung in any direction. It's like
I
yours.
personally would have hang it like a differently, like, but it's, I think it depends on the person, what they feel.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a good dynamic way also to kind of almost like a running a musical or something with a person.
Well, and with these two, the negative space are super important, as important as positive space. So I spend a lot of time playing with the individual elements until I can get the right negative space. I'm not even looking at the positive space. I'm really looking at the negative space. That seems to be the most important part in this body of work. But it's an interesting way to work. I've never done it like that before. I've never just played in this way that I've done this body.
What I saw before was like more like a historic images and a lot of historic images. What I actually really like about it, you know, all kinds of images from, and very uniquely selected actually, put together also a very interesting way and carved and shaped in a particular way, very interesting also.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yes, that could go with my work when I saw those historic images, you know, but I've never seen you work again like in person.
Yeah.
It was like I just want to tell that, please, if you have a chance, come here to the gallery to see the work in person. Because, you know, to have this connection, to have a conversation with the piece, you really cannot do it online. I mean, I know these days, this is what we do, and I completely understand why. And we all understand why, but the gallery is actually on the second floor, and there's nobody here. On the first floor, there's 2 galleries closed. It's, you know, it's just a very
In other
much.
words, don't be afraid.
Yes.
It'll be
It's just not, it would be just, if you come tomorrow on the art reception, you know, from 1 to 7, it's probably would be just you or a few people walking around, and then they leave, and then would be just you. We can just let you walk through, and if you have any questions, keep like a distance with you. So we're very respectful to, you know, to the
I'm
situation.
with Mela. I think that the only way to really appreciate this work is to come see it in person. I think particularly your work, because it is so multifaceted. So I hope you guys can make it. If not tomorrow, maybe make it later in the month. We're gonna be until the 17th. And is my battery dying?
Hold on.
You guys have better ask
Ray.
questions before we have to shut this
Yeah.
down.
Ray, do you make the printed reproduction excerpts first as a collage, and then they govern the physical support form, its flow,
Good
and its final
question.
shape?
Good question.
It's from
Some-
Jean Dunn.
yeah.
Jeannie
Yeah.
Dunn.
Jeannie Dunn.
Sometimes I would, I do it that way, exactly. I will make this, I will print the images, I will cut out the shapes, I will play with the shapes, and then I will have the plywood cut. Often I do start with a small version. That's a small collage that's shaped, and then I scan it and I send it to my laser cutting guy, and I do it that way. But with these, I started with the shapes because they're all shapes taken from Henry Moore sculptures. And then I just printed a bunch of different material from a bunch of different contemporary or modern and contemporary artists, and then did it that way. So I do it both ways, in other words. Good question.
Thank you, Jeannie. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to say what a joy it's been to work with Mela and Ray, and their professionalism and their attention to detail was greatly appreciated by me. I gave them a very long leash, and they did a great job. They delivered beautiful work and really helped in the installation. And I'm always open to looking at work and to reviewing proposals. So feel free to submit those. There's no guarantees. Obviously there's been a lag in programming due to COVID, but we do keep files of artist work. And if you don't present a pairing, part of the joy that I receive from doing this type of work is pairing artists and finding the right artist to pair you with. And sometimes that takes time. But I really appreciate you all tuning in on a Friday evening. It's great to see you supporting Ray and Mela, and it's great to hear your comments and read your comments. And I hope you can make it in. The room really is dynamic and electric, and
Have the show.
make a difference.
Your inbox is going to be slammed with proposals.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of artists. I actually like artists.
You should be very afraid. All right, how are we doing for time, guys? I want to be respectful of everybody's time
Right,
and
if
not
you
go
need more
overboard.
questions, I mean, right now, what time is it right now?
Yeah.
You won't.
Okay,
Let's just make sure we invite everybody in. I think you guys did a great job of presenting the work. Stephen, thank you for your camera work. It was greatly appreciated. but there really is no substitute for seeing work live. And that's why we decided to make the leap and open up the gallery. And Mela and Ray were brave enough to take that leap with me. And I think they did a damn good job. So it is up till April 17th, and we're going to be open regularly from Thursday to Saturday. And look forward to seeing you all sooner than later.
Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks everybody for tuning in. If you missed any part or if somebody's missed the presentation, we'll be posting a recording of this on Ion Artists and Kipaipai. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It was great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Betty.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Beautiful
everybody.
work. That was great. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
They're out of there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're done, right?